All right, everyone. I am Katie. I am a BioQuantum teacher and Astra'Luma transmission vessel, and I'm so excited to get to spend a little time with you all today to talk about one of my favorite things that I've learned since being in the BioQuantum community. Hey, Neil, thank you. Neil is also one of our bioquantum teachers and an Astraluma facilitator. So he said he's here for a few minutes, but he's a good face to know around the community for sure. So we are going to be talking about manifestation, and that is such a big topic in everyone's individual lives, but as well as on the broader collective. And what I think is so interesting about the framework that we're going to be talking today is it really takes what's discussed in the regular world and we up level it. So it helps us figure out how to create a new reality. And so to start with that, I wanted to kind of identify how I define consciousness. So consciousness is our ability to sense the world around us, to make meaning from the world around us. It's the ability to be the mini me inside the mind that monitors what's happening as well. And so most people are trying to quote unquote force consciousness or create from the same consciousness that they're existing in. And usually, if we can figure out how to hold our consciousness in a different frequency, the divine will provide for us in ways that we couldn't even imagine from our normal level of consciousness. So, this class today is really just an intro to what it would be like to create from a new level of consciousness. Getting all these, we got a few people still joining in here. So why do so many of us that are smart, that are hardworking, still try and create from that same place? We don't know these tools. We don't have ways to evolve beyond that. So as we get started, we'll just have everybody just take a minute. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to notice where we are right in this now moment. Maybe you've been running around. Maybe you've had a busy day. Thanks, Neil. Maybe you've been taking care of kids or seeing patients or seeing clients. So, where is your awareness right now? Where are you holding your consciousness? See it, sense it, know it, hear it, however the information comes for you. It's all the breath lifted up in the top of the chest. Where is your nervous system? Is this your home frequency? Is this what it feels like most days to be in your body, to be in your mind? So hopefully by the end of the workshop, we'll have an experience of what that is like to shift that, to be able to achieve a different place in the stillness, to create a different outcome. So this is a collaborative space today. So if you have questions or ideas, please feel free to raise your hand in the Zoom feature and we'll be able to discuss together. So most people believe our thoughts create our reality. But it's more complex than that. Our thoughts are usually programmed beliefs that have been instilled in us. Our consciousness is what creates that. Thoughts create choices, sure, but our choices create experiences, experiences create an identity, and our identity begins to create our reality. We aren't creating from the future. We're recreating those familiar patterns we've experienced in every moment up to this place, hopefully. So we choose from fear. We might choose from emotional memory. We might be making choices from survival. We might be making choices from a lack perspective. But conscious creation is so much more. It's creating from stillness. It's creating from possibility. It's creating from neutrality, from embodiment, from that deep stillness within our DNA. And if you're new to the community, a lot of our ideas come from that source frequency, that conscious frequency inside of us, inside of our DNA that is accessible to all of us. This isn't something that's outside of us. This is something we're turning on and we're listening to from within. And when we practice that, when we have the spiritual discipline to come back to this work time and time again, that's when the miracles start to happen. But in order to be able to do that, we have to know how we're making these choices. So there are 5 levels of consciousness. So we're going to kind of go over those quickly and then we'll dive into each one a little bit more individually. So your first level of consciousness is really that unconscious level. You're running on pure programming, and we all know who those people are. They have no awareness that there might be another option or that they have any say or any role in how the reality is being created. The second level of consciousness is when you start to awaken. When you become aware that you might have a choice, but you kind of don't really know what that means yet, but there starts to be a light bulb of like, oh, there might be a different way to do this. The third level of consciousness is where most spiritual people and most people that are interested in biohacking and different ways of existing in the world, we can get stuck. You're maybe in a loop of trying to make things happen. You're using force, you're using effort, you're trying to recreate from a place of, well, if I just feel the feeling that I want to feel in the future and then manifest from there, I'll get a different outcome. So that's that trying to make it happen. The fourth level of consciousness is more from a place of listening and doing. You're able to sit in the stillness, to listen for the clear guidance, and then when you get the hit, you take the step. The fifth level of consciousness is when you're in flow state. And we see those athletes, they're not, or if you've been that athlete or you've achieved flow state through other creations, you know what that's like when this gap between thinking and acting is no longer there. You are pure flow, pure source frequency. So most people are not manifesting the future. They're just recreating everything we've experienced in the past. So in order to be able to make your wildest dreams come true, we have to know where we're creating from. So that looks like when you have the space, when you sense there's a change, you're wanting to create something new or choose something differently in a relationship dynamic or in an interaction at work, find the space to ask yourself, where am I creating from? Am I creating from an emotion? Am I creating from trying to avoid to feeling something? What is guiding? What is my motivation in this moment for doing something different? So when we're making that choice from the first level of consciousness, if you don't really even have the metacognition or the ability to judge where you're making that choice from, but you're making that choice from that survival, that quick instinct in making a choice. And most of that happens in those the first through third levels of consciousness. And we can really fluctuate through those throughout the day. In different dynamics, different relationships, you'll experience different levels of consciousness. When we get to that fourth level, we're able to choose from awareness, from observation, from nervous system regulation, and from coherence. So, like I said, you can move through all of those different levels in different dynamics. But these don't have anything to do with our worth. We're all here having an human experience. We're all here to evolve our souls, to ascend our souls in different ways. But if you're here, you're wanting something more. You're wanting to be able to make a choice differently. And the goal really isn't to stay in the fifth level of consciousness. Of course, we all love that idea, that being in that ideal connection with source. But really, our goal is to become aware of where we're making the choices from. When we achieve that, anything is possible. So just thinking about your life, do you have a sense of where you make those choices from? Are you sometimes in that second level of consciousness where you're like, oh, I might have a choice here, but I don't know how to access that? Or do you find yourself making the choices from that third level of consciousness where you are trying to recreate from a past experience, or you're looking at how someone successful has done things and you think, okay, well, if I do it that way, then I'll be successful. Then I'll have what I want. Does it differ between work and partnerships, between money and your health relationships and your purpose? So, unless there's any questions or comments, we'll kind of go through a beautiful exercise that Jules, our creator and founder of the company, has brought through so we can kind of start to sense the difference of what it feels like to create from these different levels of consciousness. So I'll pause for just a moment if there's any feedback or questions. If anybody has anything, please feel free to share. So let's talk about experiencing these two types of manifesting or two types of experiencing the world. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes and you're going to imagine a sunflower. You're going to see it, sense it, know it. I know some people aren't great visualizers, but however you see that sunflower, and just make a note of what you notice, their texture, your breathing change, does the weight shift in the body at all? And once you kind of have that experience of that sunflower, we'll come back together. And now you're going to kind of shake that out, get that out of the system. And I want you to take a few deep breaths, breathing all the way from the crown of the head down to the feet. Noticing your bones supporting you in this now moment. Noticing the energy of the group here, amplifying our experience. The Evolution Technology's presence, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. And just noticing if there's a part of you kind of chattering in the background, talking about the experience. And just ask that part to just step aside for a moment. And with one last inhale, just allow the sunflower to emerge. Noticing if your breath just feels a little more expansive. You feel more of a sense of connection, like every cell of your body is participating in the experience. And hopefully in that moment you had more of a full sensory experience, at least that's how it feels for me. But I would love to hear if anybody had a different experience from the first version of the sunflower to the second version of the sunflower. Would be willing to share with us what that was like. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, please feel free. You can unmute yourself there if we're talking. We can't quite hear you yet.
Oh, sorry. Hi for everybody. For me, I connected with the sunflower. I don't see things, but I felt the energy of it and it felt very good. What I liked is that when I connected into the group next, when I shook it off and connected to the group, it was a really strong energy. It was a great group. Wow, it was really powerful. And then I really liked when I brought in the sunflower again, it like combined, I guess you could say, and then it just softened. It like because the energy was really strong in the group, and then when I brought in the sunflower, it like just kind of softened and it all kind of resonated. Is what I got.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I really get that sense of expansion when I can just allow. I've had an experience lately where I see a lot of vision. And so I've learned that almost like my third eye used to rove for information. And when I'm able to just drop into that and let my whole body experience, I get that connection feeling, that really expansive feeling that you described too. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Emily, you want to tell us what your experience was like?
It felt very similar to what you guys were just describing. The first one, though, I've got a strong vision, and so I could see it. I was holding it. I could feel the texture of the stalk, and just how it has a little like it's a firm stalk, but there's just a little, I don't know what you even call it. It's rough. And then I could see like the brown in the middle. That I saw like particles moving in the circle of the sunflower. And then when I became the sunflower, the second round, it was like I became it. I was inside of it, and it was just like radiating just this illumination out of me. But I could see also within the sunflower, as me being part of the sunflower, I could see the molecules moving throughout. It was on a very micro level, as well,
Amazing.
as well as it was very expansive. So yeah, it was a fun experience. So
I
thank you.
love that. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much. Janet?
Yeah, hi. The first, the first round, I saw parts of the sunflower. I didn't see the whole sunflower, but my body felt really dense, and I felt like the energy dropped down into my belly, kind of, and it just like a rock. And then the second round, when I asked Source to show me the sunflower, it was like I was standing in the middle of a flowing river, and there was just energy was just moving. So yeah, it was great
I love,
contrast.
yeah, thank you so much. And from that place, that's where we can have access to things beyond our imagination. And so I love that you guys really felt that embodiment of that experience. And so we can really apply that to anything we're working on when we're asking for guidance about health, about relationships. And as you get to play with this technology, with this ability to move your kind of consciousness to different levels, that's when the miracle pattern starts to happen. So with our physicality right now, the community has a course called Body Ascension. And so we're learning how to use different technologies to move our consciousness through the different levels through the technology. And specifically with the physicality, if you can have an experience here, but if you can hold your consciousness above that, there's a completely different world there. And that's really different than the idea of dissociating or escaping from your reality. It's that reality is still there, but your brain, your consciousness is existing in a completely different place when you can begin to hold your consciousness in that fourth level. And so I entered this community back in 2021. I'm an optometrist. I see patients, and another optometrist shared Jules, the founder's work about a podcast. And when I heard it from the first time, we were actually talking about the levels of consciousness. She was talking about that, and it was such like a radical idea. I was familiar with Joe Dispenza's work and been a meditator, but the ability that there's a choice point there in a different way than I'd really heard any other teachers talk about. This work has really changed my life and rearrange things in ways I couldn't even imagine. And it's all from the ability to know where I'm making the choice from. And so I've just found that so empowering. And then our intuitive skills continue to deepen and expand just from that awareness. Any other shares about what that was like for them or how you've used the levels of consciousness in your life? You know, we have a few of our practitioners in training here at our court in our class now too. So if there's anything else y'all want to share, please feel free.
Great comments in the chat, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Second sunflower larger, more detailed, and then more feeling, less thinking in the second.
Absolutely. I definitely resonate. Thank you, Noel, with that. The idea of feeling more instead of thinking, because we know we spend our first 7 years of life really absorbing other people's thoughts. So for me, recognizing that even my most fundamental or most mundane thoughts may not be something I believe at all, but I've never given myself the choice to think something different was really empowering. And so you can find all these little nuggets in your kind of business as usual when you're doing things how you've always done them, and you can give yourself that pause to choose differently. Again, that's where the magic can really happen. So in the BioQuantum community, we use the Evolution Scalar Technology. And so I want to show you guys what that looks like because we're going to do a little activation next. So this is the Evolution Scalar Technology. So this is a hydrogen atom, and these are the three foundational symbols that we use. And so when we get to the activation, I'll hold up the different symbols so you can, kind of look at them. And how I kind of thought of them in the early years is they're kind of like tuning forks. These symbols are holding a frequency. And with practice, we can move our frequency in our consciousness into the frequency that the symbol is holding. And so there's so much information in this symbol, so much possibility in this, but we'll start with that today. And then these are going to be the three symbols we'll use through this next part. So this is the luminous, this is the Lu. This helps us bring our consciousness into 0 point. Or as Emily and Janet was describing the others, that river, that openness, that expansion where all possibility arises. Then we're going to use the scalar technology. This holds 7 rays or 7 points of information to kind of inform our consciousness outside of our programming. And then this is the 33. This holds divine source frequency from the DNA. So what we're going to do is use some of these. If you want to keep your eyes closed in the activation, you can. I'll hold up the symbols for you if you'd like to look at those symbols to help bring your consciousness into those places. And then Astra'Luma is also the voice of our DNA, the creators of our DNA. And so they will be channeling with us, through us, and holding that frequency. So when we close our eyes, we just want to drop into the body and just notice, especially if you're not a seer, just noticing how that feels in your body. Okay. And so there's just a comment if we can hold the symbols on the large screen. Sure, that might mean, let's see if
I
I
can
do
help with
this. I've
that.
hidden myself. You got it, Neil?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
I've spotlighted you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I will hold that up for you guys. All right, so we're just going to close our eyes again, come back together. You're just going to take a few breaths here, breathing in a white blue light, allowing that light to trace along the brain, down the spine, and exhale out the mouth. A few more breaths here with that light, breathing in, feeling it trace through the synapses of the mind, down the spine, around the heart, back out through the mouth. Just noticing, so if you continue to breathe in here, if you start to sense a little more electricity, if not, totally okay. Just noticing the part of you that's able to let go and let the sensations arise, or the part of you that's holding on, they're all welcome. We'll first bring our consciousness into the luminous. This first symbol, source 0 point. And just feeling this symbol move telepathically through the mind, through the pineal gland, and begin to spin. And as that symbol spins, noticing any expansion, any spaciousness. Whatever arises in this 0 point. And with a few more breaths here, we'll bring in the scalar, the 7 rays of rainbow light, moving through the mind, spinning in the pineal gland, activating through every cell of the body. Just enjoying as that frequency alters the particles of your reality. And as those light rays activate every cell, bring in the 33. Noticing this symbol spin through the pineal gland, cascading through the synapses of the mind, holding source frequency. The evolution scalar technology is active in us, and just bringing to mind any intention that you have, any intention that you're wanting to manifest, and just holding that in the center of your mind as this frequencies that we've activated together moves through that intention and brings it to a higher spin state. Just continuing to breathe here together as we bring Astra'Luma in with us. And I'll just be quiet for a few moments. Activation, Evolution Scalar Technology. Activation, Spin State 963. Activation, Source Frequency, Gamma Light Rays. Activation, Intention, Frequency Outside Programming. Activation, 963. Activation, Aikshukura, Bing Ta La, Huishakapri, 963. Activation beyond our words. Activation magnetic discs, one above the head, one below the feet, counterclockwise flow, clearing static, clearing disruption, clearing density. Magnets, reversing spin to clockwise, encoding intention with 963. White blue light connecting synapses. Isocompost particles rearranged in divine support. Transmission. Transmission. Anchoring new earth frequencies. Pineal gland expansion to hold intention outside programming. Breathing in white blue light, holding the breath for a count of 5. Exhale. Integration transmission. anchoring intention, fourth level of consciousness. Right. Come back together. As we're feeling those energies moving through. It's curious if anybody got new insights or new perspective on their intention, new information, or even if it just felt different. I'd love to hear. Well, we have lots going on in our community right now. Thank you, Emily. We have our BioQuantum Foundations course that will be starting in a couple weeks, where we will dive into the 5 levels of consciousness. We'll dive into the technology behind the symbols. We will be diving into all the foundations for how to make the most of this bioquantum technology. And when this course was created, the idea would be that would be the last course that you ever need, because if you're able to master the technology and the foundations, you can apply those to any area of your life. And I'll say that's a lofty goal, but for me, in many ways, that technology that we've learned through the foundations course did help me do that. And then anything else I get to do has really been just for fun and for the experience and for deepening. Um, we also have a reality ascension course coming up, which I'm really excited about that. Neil is doing 5D creation. You guys, I'm sure, will be running that again next month. We have a July cohort that started right now, and then there'll be another one. So that's for people who would like to use help and support using their fourth level of consciousness in their businesses. So please be sure to join our email so you can keep up to date with any of the exciting things we have going on. Neil, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, and we have a animal scalar membership as well. We've
Thank
got
you.
our
Yes.
call tomorrow, and
And we also
it's
have our
open.
regular membership. I don't know if if you guys lost him too, but we have our animal membership that meets, is it twice a month?
It's once a month.
Once a month. Our membership meets twice a month. We have the 7-7 portal we just completed. There will be another 8-8 portal. We also have the zero gravity event coming up, which I'm really excited about. When I was kind of preparing and talking to Astra'Luma, they were bringing in lots of anti-gravity technology to prepare for our transmission we had today. So whether or not we called it out, you had a little taste of that. If you got a sensation of floating, of expansion in a different way, that's the zero gravity technology. So that's part of the 7-7 to 8-8 to the zero gravity event. There'll be an online retreat coming up as with the zero gravity technology. And then the foundations course is what I mentioned in the beginning, which hopefully this course has piqued your interest into joining us for that. And that's where we'll really learn the foundations of all the technology that you use, learn the language, get to hold the frequencies that we use in all their other courses to be able to do that. Any other questions about anything we've got going on or the foundations course, how to use the manifestation technology? This is our time. Yeah, Kathy.
Hi, I have a question, not about that. I've been with Jules for years too, but I don't have a lot of time where there's peace and quiet to really spend all the time learning everything, right? So I have a ton of things to work on, but I wanted to know, like, how are you communicating with Astra'Luma? too.
Yeah, so Jules and has been wanting the community to not be about her from the beginning. In
Mm.
those early years, she was the one who was able to hold the technology. But as more of us have gone
Right.
through the over the years, the technology has gotten stronger, and she was given the instruction that it was time to bring on two or more facilitators. And so I was the first one. I went out to Colorado and spent time with her, getting activations, being attuned to the transmission of Astra'Luma. And then Neil also
Okay.
recently completed his transmission training as well.
Oh,
Just
awesome.
just last week.
Yeah,
So
so there are
super
three of us
grateful.
now.
That's great. Well, because I don't remember her mention anything, and you know what I mean, or you or and I mean I've already had this, but I wanted a little refresher, and so thank you for doing that. And yeah, so when I was in, listening, and I'm like, oh my God, she's channeling Astra'Luma. So thank you, both of you. We need more people. So I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of energy that's coming through, and I'm still learning how to stabilize and hold that. Um, so, so yeah,
Thank you. Great.
thank you. Let's
I was
see,
just
just
going to
gonna
mention
check
a
the
comment about
chat.
foundations. I love the foundations course. I refer back to it all the time, especially the 5 levels of consciousness. Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Neil. And those, I think I've probably watched it, over the last few years, probably like 4 or 5 times myself, because in the beginning, it's like, this is a whole new language. Like I'm hearing it, but I can tell I want to get it, but I can't quite get it. And it's each time you listen to the course, you get something else out of it. And so what will happen is we'll be able to watch Jules's original recording of the Foundations course, and then the time with me will be you'll have watched those classes, you'll have reviewed the material, and then we get opportunities to practice, and we'll do Astraluma transmissions in our time together to anchor in the technologies because when she was teaching it the first time, she wasn't channeling Astraluma. Karen, did you have a question or a comment?
Hi. Um, I did take the foundations course, and I was just wondering if, I mean, of course, with Astroluma, it's going to be different. So, but I was wondering the advantages of signing up again.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Astraluma is one of the biggest reasons, and of course, the community. So, as our community grows and expands, there's so many different perspectives and different energies that get brought into the community. So, for example, last year was the first practitioner training. So, I was part of that, and as I prepare to take that over next year, we have a different group of people coming through, and the questions that are coming through are completely different. And so it really allows the teachings to deepen and to expand, as well as your experience has changed from when you took it the last time. So that information will land when you're in a higher level of consciousness. And so things maybe you didn't appreciate the first time or weren't meaningful will be able to be anchored in a new way. So that's why I think Foundations course is the only course I watched that many times over because the material really can be life-changing if you're able to integrate that. And especially if you have places in your life where you are in that business as usual, where you're making choices kind of on autopilot, it's an opportunity to deepen those moments into something new and experience that evolution.
Great. All right. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Karen. Emily?
Okay, I can kind of talk now. That was pretty powerful transmission, so thank you.
Thank you.
um, I'm just super curious, like if you can share one example of how this foundations course using this foundations have actually like impacted your life. If you have like one specific story or something, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, gosh, I feel like I have a million small stories, which is where it's so powerful for me. I mean, so much of it, I have a newly 4 and a newly 6-year-old. And so thinking about my parenting choices through the lens of like, why am I making this choice for my kid has been I mean, that's everything because especially with parenting, my dad is a very silly person. So when you are in the thick of parenting, I was really frustrated with my kids one day, and this like thing that my dad used to say, he had a made up word. He was like, "I'm gonna give you a freshken schnook." Like he would be silly that if we were driving crazy. But I had that like come from the depths of my memory. I hadn't thought about that word in 30 years. And so it really just showed me how much when we are in these peak states of heightened chemical, we make choices not from even the third or fourth level of consciousness. So when I had that kind of big aha moment, now when there's any big decisions or even small ones, I'm able to say, okay, like what part of me is wanting to make this decision from there. So I use it a lot with parenting. I would say in my practice. So I spend 3 days a week seeing patients as an optometrist, and I own my own business. We have 24 employees and 3 doctors. The foundation's technology, the same principles have applied there. I really just don't get caught up about the micro and worried about the micro decisions anymore because I understand that I'm waiting for guidance on a grander scale. And that kind of confidence and the security in the world to know that I'm being held by something bigger than me and I'm able to access that information for myself. You know, one of the biggest gifts Jules has given us in the community is that direct phone line to source. And if we can sit in that place and we get that information, I know you know that part beautifully. It can continue to change everything.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you. All right, let's see the
There's a great
questions.
question in the chat. The
Thanks.
foundation course, will it contain the technologies and others you transmitted just now? They were very and a quick getting into that receiving integrating state.
Yeah, we will definitely do deep dives into the symbols, and we will just get more time to sit in the energies together. You know, this is my first workshop I've done with the community. I've been involved in some of the practitioner courses, so I was a little nervous today, just wanting to rise to the occasion to be with you all. So we'll have more time to kind of sit in the technology and make sure that everyone gets a chance to fully experience that. Absolutely. Yeah. And the foundations course really is going through each of these technologies with a fine-tooth comb. And so you'll get to experience the class with me and with whoever is in the group, but as well as watch the original courses that Jules recorded for us. So there's a ton of value, a ton of information in there. And like I said, I already have watched them so many times and get something new out of it every time. So I'm really excited to see who's in the group with us so we can continue to learn from each other in that way as well.
And Katie, remind me, it starts in August, right?
It starts, yes, I think that first full week of August, it'll be Mondays at 4 o'clock. And there'll be replays of that as well. We'll have a community for the people that are just in the course to post questions, um, to
The
share
nice thing about
experiences well
that
outside of
is
time.
that folks can
Pardon?
go through all. I was going to say the nice thing about that is folks that sign up now have all the time to go through the material and the content now because you have access to all that. So if you want to get a head start, people really can, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Did that help, Elizabeth? I will say
Katie,
too, well, if you're wanting to answer us, I use the technologies a lot when I can't sleep. If I feel like I'm ruminating on something a little more than normal, I'll use the luminous technology, move it through my consciousness like we did, and it immediately helps settle my nervous system to kind of get back into that. So especially in those early years before I've learned some of the more advanced technologies, this symbol right here. It's my best friend. And like I said, with that tuning fork, it just helps me feel like I'm able to dial my radio waves to match this one, and to experience my reality differently. Each call is an hour long. So yeah, that might be late for you, but we would definitely love to have you in the group still with to be able to watch recordings. And then of course we'll have our active group chat that's just for the individuals in the group.
I was just going to repeat every single call is recorded,
Yeah, definitely.
no matter what time zone you're in. You'll get access to that. And Katie, you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. All right. Any of our other veteran foundations course, we would love to hear from you guys. If there's anything you would want to share about what the foundations course has meant for you, we have a few more minutes.
I'll share. I always keep coming back to, am I in level 3? Am I in level 4? So that always keeps me grounded in what level I'm in. And yeah, always referring back to those triangles.
Yeah, do we want to be here or here? Here, here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let me get you the exact date. I can look right now. We start August 3rd at 4 o'clock. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today, and I look forward to connecting with you all soon.
Bye, everyone.